My friend looks at me and is like, it's a Saturday night. He's like, what do you want to do tonight? I'm like, dude, I got an idea. And he looks at me funny and I say, let's make a crop circle. Let's make a crop circle.
What is happening and what is up? Hold out your glass, because we're about to fill it up.
All things continually lead back to serpents, dragons, fairies, Nephilim, and fallen angels.
In the distance looms a mystical mountain.
As Mike Heiser used to say, if it's in the Bible and it's weird, it's probably important.
At its peak, a great fire burns, concealing the Prometheus lens.
This development of this knowledge that's being talked about within the mystery schools.
An ancient artifact said to reveal the hidden truth within a deliberately darkened world.
There's a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world.
Join us as we travel and explore the vast unknown. It's a hero's journey with dragons to slay, damsels to save, and innumerable treasures to hoard. Torches high.
The Smithsonian, they caught wind of a giant skeleton, would send their agents out to get it.
But it takes courage to move forward, to move out of the shadows, out of the unreality that we think of as reality.
We are all on the hero's journey.
Mankind has been in contact with and influenced by extraterrestrials.
Leave the sentient mound of bull feathers out of it.
You know, look at it from a different perspective.
What is happening and what is up? Hold out your glass. We're about to fill it up. Welcome to the Prometheus Lens Podcast, the place where the conversations are always enlightening. I'm your host, Justin, and here we like to use the allegory of the Prometheus Lens to take a second look at everything. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome to the hero's journey. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll have the socials coming down below. Be sure to check us out on our various platforms, and that would be much appreciated. Well, how many of you guys have seen the news and seen the monoliths popping up, or crop circles, and just all this, UFO phenomena, and wondered to yourself, is this stuff real? Could this stuff be true? Well, I'm going to hit you with a different perspective today that maybe you have thought of, but I'm going to secure that thought in your mind today. I talked to a gentleman not that long ago, and he was willing to come on the show. We're going to call him Jim for now, because he doesn't want his identity put out there for everyone. But Jim and some friends back in the day snuck into a farmer's field and got into some mischief, and he's willing to come tell his story today, so I'm much appreciated. But Jim, thank you for coming on and being willing to share your story with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
So this story that you told me about, just like as a baseline, like when was this? Was this late 80s, early 90s? What kind of time frame we looking at?
Mid 90s. The movie Signs, the M. Night Shyamalan movie Signs had come out and was kind of our inspiration at the time.
So this was you and a group of friends, and from these movies and stuff, you just decided, like, hey, we're going to go and make some crop circles.
So, believe it or not, when I was at that age, I was pretty straight-laced as far as I wasn't out partying or doing anything like that. We'd sit around, watch movies, kind of do things like this. But I did get into trouble a lot on other stupid things at times. But the one time we were sitting there around after we'd watched actually that movie, and my friend looks at me and is like, it's a Saturday night. We're not partiers. We're not people that go out drinking. We're not people that, do those types of things at that point. And He's like, what do you want to do tonight? I'm like, dude, I got an idea. And he looks at me funny, and I say, let's make a crop circle. He looks at me and he laughs like he thinks I'm joking. I was like, no. Let's make a crop circle. He looks back and says, well, all right, what do we do? I was like, I've seen these documentaries. Have you ever watched the Discovery Channel that have these guys that, not Discovery or History, I'm not sure which one, I've seen it, where they show these British guys that were really big on doing that back in the 60s and 70s, and they could make these really elaborate designs overnight. It's just unbelievable the way they did it. And they would take a rope and put it to basically a 2x4 that was about, 3 or 4 feet long. They'd hold the rope at the top, put their foot on the board, and they would just keep pressing down and pushing down so it would all go in the same direction. And they could make these elaborate patterns. I mean, these amazing geometric shapes that would blow your mind. And I was like, we could do that. So we went out to my family's house, where there was some stuff of that nature, where we had some ropes, some boards, things of that nature. And then we decided we were going to go down the road, and we were going to actually, we were going to try this out in a little small rural farm town, not thinking anybody would ever see it, not thinking anybody would ever know about it. It was just going to be one of those things we kind of had between us and think it was kind of funny. So with my buddy, I actually grabbed my younger brother and said, come on, let's go do this. And my younger brother was quite younger at the time, probably didn't really have a clue at first what we were doing. But we actually were trying to find a way to make that. We've never done anything like this, so we were trying to find a way to make it a little more geometric, a way to make it a little more interesting. So when we decided the way that we were going to make a perfect circle is we were going to take this dowel rod that was about 7 feet tall, and we took a 30-foot rope off of the dowel rod, and what we did is we had it so it would rotate around. So we had my brother stand in the middle, hold this dowel rod perfectly still in the middle, straight up and down. And we started going around at the base of the dowel rod and working our way out, going in the same direction all the way around, 30 foot out. So it ends up being a 60-foot circle. So we go around, put this down, and the corn's just laying down the way that it should, and laying down, and we go around this circle. We get done with that 60-foot section, and my buddy's like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take that section of rope, we'll go out the 30-foot, we'll cut that in half and set the post directly in the middle. And then we take that half and go around in a similar circle. We do that same thing, so then we have that 15-foot diameter circle. What we do is we do the same thing, but we take it on a crescent, so it almost looks like a half moon, and we do it again for a smaller circle, which instead would be 7.5 feet in circumference, so smaller, but it gradually got bigger, started with that big one and went in a half circle, but the measurements lined up. I mean, obviously starting at the 30-foot, going to the 15 to the 7.5, but cut down and half as close. The 7.5-foot one was half as close to the 15-foot one as the 15-foot one was from the 30-foot one. So there was a very, very geometric, or mathematic similarity there. There was a assimilation you could make
pattern.
There was a pattern. Okay, that's the best way to put it. There was a pattern. So we got done with that. Actually, it was kind of funny. It was a little freaky. It was a side note, kind of funny story. But went back. I forgot. I wanted to bring a camera. This is back in the days of those disposable cameras, right? So we brought this disposable camera out there, and I had my brother stand in the middle of it, and I wind up the camera. You had that little clicker on the back, if you remember those.
Mm-hmm.
You click, you wind the camera up, and then you get the flash ready. You have to hit it down. You hear that little whining to get the flash up. And I go to take the picture, and the flash actually exploded out of the front of the camera. The whole thing shattered. I've never seen anything like that in one of those cameras. Never had anything like that happen. But it shattered right out of the front of the camera. So we're like, we were a little spooked. Even though we're the ones that did this, we were still a little spooked. But we end up taking off, getting out of there. Don't think anything about it.
So let's stop right there for a second.
All right.
And do like a recap here. So it was you, one other friend, and a sibling. And you said there was no drugs, no alcohol involved. It was just inspiration from a movie you guys were watching.
Yes.
And from a History Channel documentary, you learned how to make these crop circles, and you guys just go out in some random field and lay this thing out.
In about an hour.
So it took you about an hour to do so.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's cool. I mean, like where I'm from, it was like, hey, let's go tag the bridge that runs under the railroad track, you know. Joni loves Chachi in a heart, you know. So this was definitely inspirational, man. This is definitely creative.
Well, you think about it, and first of all, if you live out in the country and you don't have much else to do, you get creative in different ways. You know, it's the same way. If you were living in the city, you would find something different. Like you said, I'd tag a bridge or do something, because we were going to do something mischievous. Apparently this is the country boy way of being mischievous. So we got out there, had a good time, thought it was funny, thought it was kind of a, you know, just kind of, it was for us. It wasn't really for anybody else.
You didn't think nobody'd even see this thing. It was just to do it.
Mm-mm. So later, probably about 3 months later, you know, hadn't even thought twice about it. It was just in the background, just something funny what we did one night. About 3 months later, I was talking to my father, and he was watching a show on crop circles, ironically. And I said, you know what? We made one of those a few months back. He's like, when? And I was like, well, a few months back. He goes, like he kind of points out a specific date and says at this time. I'm like, yeah, right around then, I'm pretty sure. He goes, hold on. I saw that on the news. I'm like, no. I was like, that wasn't on the news. There's no way. That's not that big a deal. I said, yes, that was on the news. So I proceed to go ahead and, you know, what do you do whenever you want to find something? You Google it. So I Google the crop circles of the town there, and sure enough, boom, pops up.
So what was your state of mind at this point? It's like, we're famous.
No, it was more disbelief, because you're sitting there going, I mean, really honestly, something that 3 kids could do in an hour overnight makes news headline. Like, I mean, not saying, I mean, you think about it in retrospect, you know, it's stupid, because you're hurting a farmer's field. That's not cool. You know, you shouldn't do something like that. That's somebody's livelihood. You know, you look back and regret things like that. But, you know, you just sit there and go, that's just, how could 3 kids in an hour do something that garnered, you know, media attention to that level?
Did you immediately call up your buddy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Right away. And I told my brother as well. But we, kind of, you know, like I said, I Googled it, got down that rabbit hole with the Google a little bit, and I started finding things. I found some news articles and talking about it happening. I found a police report, because it was reported. I found another report on a paranormal website, which this started to get crazy. So they flew in a paranormal UFO researcher from, I believe it was Maryland. From Maryland. They flew this guy in to look at the circle. He assessed the crowd. This just shows you the amount of belief people want to have in the things that they believe in. But he looked at the circle. And this is, and I guess I should have said this too. After we did that circle that night, it was kind of fortuitous, but it poured. It rained and rained and rained. Any footprints that would have been there were gone. I mean, there's just nothing. So there's no way to say anybody's been out there. You wouldn't have seen anything. There was nothing else that would have shown anybody was there. So that's one thing.
The perfect storm. You couldn't have planned it any better.
It was crazy. But the this UFO researcher that comes in there says, well, I've assessed the way that the corn was broke, and there's no way humanly possible to bend it and not break it at the angle it's at without something supernatural happening. It's impossible. It can't be done. And you're the guy who did this with the board and a rope sitting there going, that's how it happened.
Are you a hunter or hiker or prepper, or just someone that enjoys the great outdoors? Whichever case that may be, Squatch Survival Gear has you covered. Not only is this a veteran-owned company, all of the products are 100% made in America, baby. All the way down to the fabric and every stitch. So whether it's a day hike, a weekend getaway, or the ultimate bug out bag, head on over to squatchsurvivalgear.com and use the code PLP10 for 10% off store-wide. Are you a member of the All Access Pass yet? If not, what are you waiting for? Join the band of brothers and sisters on this hero's journey. The members community page gets you access to the private community, monthly members chats, and guest Q&As. Also gets you 48-hour early access to all episodes for just $5 a month. The All Access Pass gets you all that, plus exclusive members only episodes for just $10 a month. If you enjoy the content, this is your way to ensure I get to keep doing this show. This is your way as a listener to sponsor the show. So head on over to PrometheusLensPodcast.com and sign up. Alright guys, back to the episode. Hey guys, you found yourself at the end of the line, and this means that you're not an All Access Pass holder, so I gotta play the Gandalf here and slam it down and say, you shall not pass. But hey, if you'd like to join us on the hero's journey and get the rest of this episode, and not only this episode, you get 48 hours early to every single episode in the future, and gain access to an entire library of members only content, access to the private Facebook community, and monthly Q&As with authors and speakers and researchers that I've had on the show. Head on over to PrometheusLensPodcast.com and sign up. It's quick, it's easy, and I'm only asking you to sacrifice a happy meal once a month. You're without an excuse. Homeless people come up with $5 to $10 a day for their addictions. Nobody's that hard up. Torch is high, guys.